June. I will now call roll call. Missy Pavlanak here. Russ Cagle. He's on already. Oh, okay. Danica Oldfeld.
Here.
Graham McPartland. Dr. Kimberly Queen. Dr. Queen, are you present? Can you take yourself off mute if you're present? It looks like you're here, please.
Hover over her, see if it's muted. She's muted.
She's muted, yeah.
Dr. Queen, this is Bob Lothwell. Can you unmute your microphone, please? Okay. Dr. Queen,
Yes.
we're doing roll call.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, my volume was low. I apologize. Queen here.
Thank you. Caitlin Sloan.
Here.
Thank you. And Oleg Balter, Dr. Balter? Not attending. Not attending. Okay. So that has 4 members. Members, when you wish to speak, please state your last name for the record.
You're muted.
This is HLO. Can everybody hear us? A thumbs up for those of you that are on camera. Okay.
Okay.
Can you start off with the second paragraph again?
Okay, I will. Thank you, Bob. The Health Licensing Office asks that individuals attending through MS Teams keep their phones muted and cameras off during the entire meeting or until they are given an opportunity to comment during public and interested parties' feedback period if indicated on the agenda. Everyone is asked to use appropriate language, manners, and protocols when conducting board meeting business. So we've got the call to order. The next item is approval of the agenda.
Chair and members of the board, this is Bob Bothwell. Before we do the approval of the agenda, I want to make note that we are not having public comment period at this board meeting. I was concerned about the length of time we would have and to get through the entire agenda, so I had that removed.
Thank you, Bob.
And so now we can proceed with a motion and a vote to approve the agenda.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I vote not to approve the agenda because that was taken off and originally it was put on. The public comment was supposed to be there. And plus there was 3 items or 4 items that were sent to Josh Page on the 2nd and the 3rd. And then there was agenda items that were supposed to be carried over from last meeting to put on this agenda, which were not added.
We can talk about the latter agenda discussion in other board business. Yeah, we continued to receive information, and it was becoming, it was a management issue. So I pulled in addition to getting through the entire agenda this morning, I pulled the public comment. Public comment will be held at a later meeting.
What's the later meeting? When will that happen?
It'll be in the spring, and there's there's no legal requirement to have public comment period.
That's disappointing and unfortunate.
So again, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I vote to approve. This is Danica Ophelt.
Thank you, Danica. Is there a second?
Caitlin,
I vote to approve the agenda.
Caitlin Sloan the second.
Yeah.
So we need a roll call vote.
Yes, and we need a roll call vote on that. So I'll do that again. Point of order, do I do me last?
no, you don't have to. You
Okay.
can just go right down the list.
Pavlinek, yay for the agenda. Olfeld,
Yay for the agenda.
Dr. Kimberly Queen,
Queen, nay.
and Caitlin Sloan.
Sloan, yay.
I couldn't hear that, Caitlin. Can you speak up a little, please?
Sloan, yes.
Thank you. So the vote is 3-1, so the agenda is approved.
I think we're double checking
I'm
that.
double checking.
We're gonna double check it.
Okay. Oh, so it's a lot.
Yeah, can we take a couple minute break, please?
Sorry, we're checking on quorum.
9:15.
We'll be back at 9:15.
We'll be back at 9:15. Thank you.
On the noticed agenda.
Current.
Rebecca? The board is reconvening at 9:22. We note the vote of 3-1, and we're moving on forward with the introductions. Caitlin, can you introduce yourself as a new board member, please?
Hi. Hi, my name is, oops. Sorry about that. My name is Caitlin Sloan, and I am a registered dietitian nutritionist in Portland, Oregon. I have a small group nutrition practice, and we serve clients who have eating disorders as well as those who have other chronic health conditions with digestion and diabetes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And we can go around the room here real quick, starting with Chair Jesse Pavanack. Introduce yourself.
So Jesse Pavlinack, I'm a registered dietitian and a licensed dietitian in the state of Oregon. I'm retired from my management position at OHSU, but I'm an adjunct at OHSU. And Bob?
Sure. My name is Bob Bothwell. I'm the director here at the Health Licensing Office. It's a pleasure to meet you. And I've been with health licensing almost 13 years now.
Hello, Chair and members of the board. My name is Ann Thompson. I'm the policy analyst for this board, along with several others here in the Health Licensing Office. I have been with Health Licensing almost 11 years now, and I've had dietitians several times. So welcome, Caitlin. And let's see, Dr. Queen, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Kimberly Queen. I'm an associate professor at National University of Natural Medicine. I am a doctor of chiropractic, also a certified nutrition specialist, a diplomate with the American Clinical Board of Nutrition, and a certified nutritionist in Washington, and a licensed dietitian in Oregon. I was in private practice for around 25 years, and been teaching for about 8 years, and also a board member for the last year and a half.
Thank you. Danica?
Hi, my name is Danica Ofeld, and I am a registered dietitian and licensed dietitian. I am currently in private practice down in Eugene, and we specialize in weight management, eating disorders, and kind of just women's health.
Thank you.
Chair, this is Bob, and members of the board, this is Bob Bothwell. I'm going to call out two staff that are here in the room because you'll get emails from them, so you can put faces with names. We have Josh.
Josh, I'm the board specialist. Been here a year, a little over a year.
And Chrissy.
Chrissy, I'm Bob's assistant. I do the board member recruitment. So Caitlin, you should be very familiar with me.
Okay.
Thank you. And we all know who runs the show in all administrative duties. So thanks, Christy, and
Happy to help.
Okay, thank you. The next item for the agenda is approval of meeting dates. And in your packet, you have some proposed meeting dates for 2026. The first one is April 15th, and then the second one is October 7th. Have you, board members, had an opportunity to look at those dates on your calendar, and can we get a motion to approve those dates?
I'll make a motion to approve those dates.
Dr.
Dr.
Queen?
Queen, yes.
Second?
This is Ofeld. I second.
Thank you. All those in favor of those?
Oh, we need to go one at a time, please.
Oh, that's right. I always forget that. So we'll do roll call. Pavlinak, yes. Ofeld?
Yes.
Queen?
Yes.
Sloan?
Yes.
Thank you. So we have those on our calendars for next year. The second board action is approval of the 2026 chair and vice chair. As we know, Yulia served as chair and I served as vice chair for the first part of 2025. And leadership for the last part of the year was Pavlinak and Ofeld. The board must nominate and elect a chair and vice chair for 2026.
Chair and members of the board, this is Bob Bothwell. I will, Dr. Queen, is your hand up?
Yeah, before we make a vote or do nominations, I just want to respectfully make a brief statement.
Sure.
I just wanted to note that when we vote on chair and co-chair, I believe that Jesse and I should recuse ourselves and not allow to hold these positions because we work for universities that confer these degrees representing the Academy of Nutrition Dietetics and the Certified Nutrition Specialist, the board. And I believe this can present a conflict of interest, especially when we vote on licensing issues for these two bodies that are interested. And I think there could be some inherent biases and conflicts of interest, whether conscious or unconscious.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, this is Bob Bothwell. Do you feel if you are nominated, you can act as chair without any bias or conflicts?
I do, and just a point of clarification, I no longer am an employee of OHSU. I am a volunteer at that organization, so I no longer work or have any legal, they have no legal obligation to me as an employee.
This is Queen. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that. And I feel like I have also can do a duty that is non-biased and doesn't hold a conflict of interest. But I also note that you are one of the original authors of the statutes that happened 30 years ago. So, and you do represent more of the registered dietitians. So there could be still some biases that lean towards that.
This is Bob. Dr. Queen, can you clarify what you mean by represent the dietitians? I don't think Chair Pavlinac is an attorney.
Oh, I just think that there's just that inherent bias that, you know, since we each confer those degrees for whether it's the certified nutrition specialist, we have a inherent knowledge about that. And plus, if somebody has written the statutes that are leaning more towards RD, and that's their so-called what they've been sort of that they have put forth, that they're going to then vote always in favor of that. And so I just want to call that out, that is a possibility.
Okay, this is Bob. We can note that. We will note that this is an open and a recorded public meeting. So if Chair Pavlinac feels she can do that, the position of the chair, if she's nominated and, you know, eventually elected, then I think we move on. And Chair Pavlinac, if in the future there's something came up where you were not comfortable, would you be willing to potentially recuse yourself from any
Absolutely.
vote or any
Absolutely.
discussion?
Just point of clarification, I do not confer any degree. The Commission on Dietetic Registration, which I am not a member of, confers RD status. And if I am correct, our current law in place is for RDs. But I would absolutely recuse if I was a conflict of interest, but this is a licensure board of licensed dietitians.
Chair and members of the board, this is Bob. The reason I'm making the statements that I am and getting a clarification is because we don't have many members currently, and which we're actively recruiting for. And so if we're unable to elect, nominate and elect a chair and vice chair, then kind of causes potential issues in running board meetings, which HLO could do, but we have a chair and a vice chair, which is what they need to do. So if we can move on with nominations, and I want to recognize Dr. Queen and thank her for bringing up those points. And so if we can move on, if one of the board members would like to make a nomination to any other board member.
Could you go over, excuse me, Bob, this is Ann Thompson.
Sure.
Could you go look at the board recruitment memo and look at everybody's term of service and see, because to assist Director Rothwell, the current leadership is, you will serve through the end of 2026, correct? Your term is good through the end of 2026?
Thanks, Ann. This is Bob. Yeah, so I'll just hit these points real quick. The current chair, Jesse Pavlinac, is in a first term, and that term expires June 29 of 2026. And if she chooses, she can reappoint. Vice Chair Danica Ofelt is in a first term, and that current term expires March 28, 2027, and can reappoint. Dr. Kimberly Queen is in a first term. It expires April 30, 2028, and can reappoint. Caitlin Sloan is in a first term. Current term expires April 30, 2029, and can reappoint. And Graham McPartlin, the public members in a first term, and that term will expire April 9, 2028. And Dr. Oleg Balter is in a first term, excuse me,
Brand new?
brand new. And their term will expire April 30, 2029. So everybody can reappoint if they so choose. So Chair Pavlinac, if you're elected, we won't have to do an election later on through the year to fill your position.
Right, so this is Ann. So the options, if you're okay with current leadership, which is Jesse's the chair, Danica's the vice chair, and she would fill in for Jesse if Jesse had to miss a meeting. We can go with current leadership. If somebody wants to step in and replace, we can have that conversation. But it's really up to the board. It's up to Jesse. If you wanted to continue, Danica, if you wanted to continue, or if people wanted to make a change, just wanted to make sure everybody had their options in front of them.
So, Dr. Queen, it looks like you have a comment.
Queen, I would like to nominate Graham McFarland, a public member, for the chair position.
It's quite difficult. I hear you, Dr. Queen, and it's noted. It's always a little awkward to nominate the person who's not here because they may not be comfortable with that position, but
This is Bob. That being said, does anybody have any other ideas for chair?
I nominate Pavlinac and keep it how it is. This is
could you?
Ophel.
Ophel, okay.
Okay, so we have,
Do we have a nomination for vice?
not yet. Well, Danica can definitely
She can
choose
say-
herself,
Yeah.
which I think I heard her say, keep it as it is. Is that what you said?
Yes, this is Ophel.
Okay,
So
so
you're, sorry, Bob, this is Ann. So you're suggesting that we keep current leadership into 2026, is that correct?
Yes, this is Ophel.
okay, well, that's a good point to start. So with that nomination, do we have a second? To keep the chair and vice chair as they are. Do we have a second?
Sloan, second.
Okay, we'll call a vote. Pavlinac, yes. I've lost my roll call. Where'd you go? Ophel,
Yes, Ophel.
Sloan,
Yes, Sloan.
Queen,
No,
And yourself.
Pavlinac, yes. Noted. Point of order, there was a motion by Queen. Do we need to see if there's a second there, or is it just, does it move forward?
We just did it.
We just,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
we voted, okay.
Yeah.
So we can also do that and, so Dr. Queen nominated McPartlin. Is there a second for McPartlin as chair?
Hearing none. Is that correct? There's no second? Hearing none, that motion dies.
So we have Ophel, one, so the leadership pair continue, and Sloan seconded it. And we had three yes,
to
and
one.
then a no.
Yes.
Do you believe the director?
Yeah, director's report. Thank you.
Okay. Chair, members of the board, it's been requested that we take a 5-minute break. It is 9:38.
Want to just round it up
Yeah.
to 9:45?
9:45.
We'll be back at 9:45.
We're back.
Okay, well,
Are we all up?
Are we
and
all up?
running?
Okay,
so we're gonna reconvene the licensure board, licensed dietitian. It's now 9:45.
Can we check your quorum, please?
Do we still have quorum?
do a quick roll call, please, Chair.
Queen, I see that you're still here. Danica, you're there. Caitlin, are you? Sloan, are you still here?
Yes, here. Sloan.
Thank you. Back up with the quorum.
All right.
Bob, you want to do the purpose?
Thank you. The chair, members of the board, the first document I'm gonna share is licenses issued. We are just finishing up Q1 of 2026, and we've issued 590 licenses. In licenses renewed for Q1 of 2026, we've had a total of 633 renew online and 696 renew by paper. Licenses by age and gender on that slide, it appears that those identifying as female are the vast majority license holders. And we have 40 individuals between the age of 70, 79 that maintain a license.
Danica just dropped,
Board a question.
Danica just dropped out.
We gotta stop. We lost Danica. And may I ask a question when you get finished with the licenses, please? I've asked one question. Thank you. So we lost Danica at 9:47.
So because we no longer have a quorum, we're gonna wait and see if we can get Danica back on, or
Can you let us know, Josh?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Hi, Arlene. This is Ann Thompson at the Health Licensing Office. We see you've got your camera on. If you would be so kind as to turn your camera off. We've got so many participants today. Our bandwidth is starting to get shaky and we're concerned about people getting evicted from the call. So if you could just turn your camera off, that would be great.
It is
looks like Danica is back on. Is that correct, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay,
9:48.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got kicked off.
Danica, thank you.
so we resume at 9:48. Thank you.
The next slide is the licensing trends. If everybody has their documents open, we have substantially increased in licenses being issued. We are up to fiscal year 2026, Q1, 3,987 licenses issued. Not in that quarter, but total. Ann, did you have a question?
Yes, this is Ann Thompson. I have a question for the board. I have noticed and actually talked with our licensing manager. Our applications for licensed dietitians in the last year, 3/4 to a year, has exploded. And numbers of staff in the office have wondered what is driving this enormous increase. Do any board members have any information on something going on? We've bandied about the idea of telehealth, weight loss drugs, things like that, and we haven't got an answer. Does anyone have an idea of what that might be? Chair, do you have any idea?
What I have heard is it's likely telehealth for some bigger companies nationwide employing dietitians. And in order to provide telehealth in the state of Oregon, they have to get a license in the state of Oregon.
Okay.
That's what I've heard. I've also heard that has greatly impacted, if I may, the turnaround time for applicants, at least one person communicated with me about that. So it is of note that we've had such a big increase.
Are they, this is Ann, are they saying that it took them a while to get processed?
Yes.
I will say, we have specific staff that work on specific boards. And the staff that was charged with being in charge of licensed dietitians actually had 2 additional staff jump in. And the licensing manager, Tina, redirected some resources to deal with the boxes of applications that we're getting. And so we're working to remediate that. But when you have a volume like that, and when you're getting boxes of applications,
Yeah.
you know, but thank you very much. For your
And
help.
please thank your staff person for bringing in more staff because that will help. But I really do think it's from larger companies out there that have hired dietitians and they want to do work in this state.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the sidebar. That helps us all.
And this is Bob. Tina, that staff member, is online. She's already.
Thank you very much, Tina.
Okay.
Anybody else on the board who have any other idea besides what I just stated? Because that's not founded in objective information. It's all subjective information. Here's the subjective I've heard, so.
And Chair, members of the board, this is Bob. But what I'm hearing from licensing staff is the boxes are coming from companies that employ.
That aligns
So that kind of aligns with what you're saying.
internal.
Yeah, okay, great. That is more objective. Thank you.
All right, so the next slide is the financial report and the spot Bothell for the record. Beginning cash balance for fiscal year 2026 is 390,877, revenues of 75,783, expenditures of 48,168, and net operations of $27,615, and with the ending cash balance of 418,502.
Oh, okay, that's newer than. Okay.
And those dates, this information was provided to me, September 24th, 2025. Any questions on the director's report? Any part of it, the licensing, the fiscal? Okay, Trampus Shuck, are you on the line, the regulatory manager?
I am. Hi, my name is Trampus Shuck. I don't know if I had a chance to, I didn't have a chance to introduce myself earlier to the new board member. But I'm Trampus Shuck. I'm the regulatory operations manager here at the Health Licensing Office. I'm here to talk about the regulatory report. And I will go.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Trampus, can you bring yourself up on camera so folks can see you? Put a face with the name. Thank you.
Joined.
Absolutely. I just wasn't sure if I should, I didn't want to crash the system. So,
Able to go on camera.
but
You may not be able to, by the way you access the meeting, Trampus.
That's the thing, but they might be able to, but we won't be able to.
We may have to wait till.
my camera's on if you can see me. Hello. If not, you'll just have to listen to my voice talk about the regulatory report. So we have the regulatory report here. There's 3 bienniums showing up on this regulatory report, and for the new board member, the bienniums are a 2-year cycle, and they end on June 30th of the year that they show up here. So June 30th of 2027 is the biennium that we're in right now, which started on July 1st of 2025. So we're just a little bit into that biennium right now. And the other 2 biennium you see, those are going to be full numbers. You're going to see those are the total amount of cases down at the bottom. The grand total is the grand total of all the cases that came in during that biennium. So they're full bienniums. And as you can see on the top portion, those are open cases of that first box, and the bottom portion, they're closed cases. You can see for the 2023 biennium, we only had 4 cases come in for that entire 2-year period. One of those cases is still hanging on stubbornly. I anticipate some resolve on that to get it off of there soon. Go ahead, Dr. Queen.
Yes. Hi, Trampus. Thanks for that information. It's always appreciated. I was wondering if you can further delineate the information from if these are individuals who have come into Oregon via the pathway number 2. And can you delineate between, are these RDs or CNSs? Can you further kind of discriminate the data and tease that out?
You know, this report only gives us kind of so much resolution. So it's kind of a high or low resolution. It's kind of giving us just the generalities of the complaints. I can say that for that 2023 and 2025 biennium, it does say that they were either licensed dietitians or not licensed dietitians, and unlicensed dietitians on this report. And for the purposes of this, that's probably because somebody reported somebody as working as a dietitian or calling themselves a dietitian, and they didn't have a dietitian license, and that was the allegation. So that's that unlicensed. The rest of them, really, all it's really we know from this report is that they were licensed dietitians. We don't know if they came in through reciprocity versus, qualifications, which of those pathways isn't reflected on this report. And I can, so it's hard to say. It wouldn't be possible to tease that out from this report. And I don't really have a good sense either, at least. Although, so I think that would be what we're looking at here. And you can see the complaints by type in that next box, the licensing concerns versus services provided. The licensing concerns are going to be more along the lines of something is going on with the license. There's an expiration, or that somebody didn't do something on an application. It could be, those kinds of things. Usually a licensing concern is going to be somebody's working with an inactive license, or they're working with no license. But that can expand out to all kinds of things as well. Anything that has to do with just general licensing requirements, less so than services provided. The services provided one is more somebody has an actual complaint about a licensed dietitian and the services that they receive from that licensed dietitian. So usually the allegation is going to be something along the lines of, that they felt that the licensed dietitian violated their practice standards in some way, their ethical standards in some way. That's what you're going to see as the services provided. And then that's kind of those are really broad categories as well. It doesn't get in, at least on this report, what exactly the allegations were. And then the complaints by type. It lets us get some idea of the types of complaints that have come in, whether they be anonymous, like we just have no idea who it is. They wanted to be anonymous so they can give us some information, whether it's the client. And you can see that that's actually fairly low on this report. We don't have a lot of clients, although I will say that I did discover there was a time frame where I'm not super confident about that number, whether that it's showing up properly on this report. The other category is a big category. It can be somebody else filed the complaint. Another dietitian filed it on, some other dietitian. It could be a mandatory self-report, or a dietitian got into some legal trouble or something like that, and they had to report that to us. It could be, HLO had discovered something, or something was reported to us, not in a formal complaint, but it came to our attention. We had to open a case for whatever reason. So all kinds of things can be under that other category. It could be a family member reporting on behalf of a client, would fall into that category. So it's kind of a big category, not super specific, but gives us some general sense of, is this clients complaining? Is this anonymous, or is this somebody else in the wider world making these complaints? For the new board member, I just want to take a second to maybe go, just give a quick brief overview of this whole regulatory thing and the complaints and what this all means. So for licensed dietitians, the regulatory team, our end of it is almost completely complaint driven. So if somebody files a complaint, then we have to open that complaint, and we have to look at it, determine whether or not, kind of just on the baseline, if everything in this complaint is true, is there a basis to conduct an investigation? So, that's kind of a low bar, but it at least gets us started and we can look into the situation. It would generally get assigned to an investigator, and that investigator would look at it, go through the investigation, go through the process. They might get records. They might talk to, the complainant, the client, the licensed dietitian, any witnesses, those kind of things. Like I said, get any records, put that all together in an investigative package, write up a report. It would come to me. I look at it, and if there's any question whatsoever whether there's kind of a violation, if it's very like, okay, this was all just invalid, none of this turned out to be true, there's no chance there's a complaint or there's no chance there's any kind of violation here, then it could just get closed at this level. But there's any ambiguity, or we do think there is a violation, we'll bring it up to the board typically, if it's something that, especially if it's a practice standard issue, and we'll bring it up to the board. And the board would look at it in an executive session, and some determinations would be made on what to do with that particular situation. So, that's the investigative regulatory process. After that process happens, if the board or if for some reason the office had to take action, we would then send out a notice. It's called a notice of intent to take some type of action. That could be to apply a civil penalty like a fine. That could be to suspend the license. That could be to put somebody on probation. It could be to revoke or vacate a license. It could be all kinds of different things that you could do within that notice. And you send that notice out, and then those people who receive that notice would have 30 days. Typically, there's some cases where it's different, but 30 days to ask for a hearing. If they ask for a hearing, then everything kind of stops, and we go into the process of a hearing. And then, and that's kind of like it's similar to a trial, but it's a little bit, the rules are a little different. It's not a criminal trial. It's not a civil trial. It's an administrative hearing. So it's slightly different, but it's overseen by an administrative law judge, and both parties can come in, present evidence, ask for discovery, all that stuff, kind of like a trial. So that's kind of the overview of that whole situation. Did anybody have any questions? And one other point that I want to make. You'll notice that the 2027 biennium has 8 complaints in it already. And that's an anomaly, right? Because like I said before, it's, we had 9 complaints for the whole 2 years before. We had 4 complaints for the 2023 biennium, which was another 2-year period. And here we are only a couple of months in, we've got 8 on the books. So since the last meeting, we had to send out 8 notices to vacate 8 licenses. Each one of those gets a complaint number, and they show up on this report. Those were sent out with an opportunity to request a hearing, and so they've been issued. We've received 2 hearing requests so far on those 8 notices that went out. So that's kind of what's going on with that number. I think it's a good time to also kind of provide a brief reminder that the board and its members shouldn't comment or engage in discussion about contested case matters. And all of these are contested case matters. So, but that's just a general rule. If we talk about contested case matters, it's typically in a non-public session or an executive session. So, yeah, and and like always, board members aren't able to discuss any matter concerning board business outside of the notice public meeting. So, but that is the regulatory report. That gives you an overview. Like I said, it's kind of a anonymous overview of all of this stuff. If and when there's situations where we need to bring these cases to the board, we would have an executive session, and over the next time frames, we're sure to have those. We just didn't happen to have any at this meeting. So that's it. Does anybody have any questions about the regulatory report or the regulatory process that I can help with or answer? Okay, well, then I'll let you get back to your other business. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Travis.
Next, we'll move on to policy.
Well, again, Chair and members of the board, this is Ann Thompson. And as I mentioned in the last meeting, there's a fee that was strangely absent from the licensed dietitian rules. We have fees associated with all the business that we conduct on behalf of the board. And one of the functions that we provide is what's called an affidavit of licensure. Dietitians know that many of you are licensed in numerous states. And a big part of reciprocity in some states is having the state in which you're licensed send official confirmation of your licensing status to another state. So you can then get your license there. This takes time and work. And for reasons that my investigation could not find, your board is missing at the standard affidavit of licensure fee to cover staff time to provide this service for licensees. So if you look in your packet, there is the fee rule. The bold language is the proposed addition. We talked about this last time, and I said I'd have it ready at this one. So what I would need, because fees are business need, nobody's making any money. This is a pass-through cost. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But what I will need from you today is take a look at the fee. If you have any questions, ask me about it. I would need you to approve the proposed rule. I would need a first, second, and a roll call vote. I was hoping, if you notice, there's also a rules schedule. And this is a way for us to show you the rulemaking process. We sort of have to reverse engineer almost. We say, okay, if we have a rule, we want to put it into place. We have to back it up. Public comment has to be at least 28 days, but it can go longer if it's an issue that we're trying to gain a lot of information on. But this has to be filed with the Secretary of State, and it has to appear in the Oregon Bulletin. And I was hoping, this is where I get to do a little mea culpa, I was hoping to impress upon you to add an additional meeting later on in 2025. And then after speaking with leadership early this week, I found that I'm out of time. I am officially out of time. So what I'm hoping you could do today is approve the proposed rule. I will get it filed when I can. The complication is I have 4 pieces of legislation I'm also juggling. And we can open the public comment, gather public comment on the proposed rule. And then in your spring meeting on April 15th, I could bring you any collected comments and you could possibly adopt the rule permanently in April. The reason I have the highlighting in the schedule is I was being super optimistic and thinking, yeah, maybe we can get another meeting in there. And leadership looked at the calendar and said, boy, you're so wrong-headed about that. You need to move it to the spring. So I apologize for the small complication there. So if you haven't, does anyone have any questions about the affidavit of licensure, what it is and why you need to have it, especially now when you're pushing 4,000 members. If we have somebody who applies and then turns around and asks for 6 affidavits of licensure, that's the other thing that's bogging down the staff time. So that also affects the timeline. But if you don't have any questions on it, we would need a motion, a second, and a roll call vote to adopt the proposed rule. And we can say the schedule will be, we will review comments at our spring meeting, which is April 15th. I know that was a lot. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board? Oh, still a quorum there, right?
Still got quorum, Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still have a quorum.
Okay, so if there aren't any questions about the proposed rule, if I could get a motion and a second and a roll call vote on the proposed rule.
I'll make a motion to add the affidavit of license fee of $50. This is Queen.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second it. This is Ophel.
Well, thank you, Danica. Roll call
Roll
vote,
call.
please.
Pavlinac, yes. Oldfeld,
Yes, Ophel.
Queen,
Queen?
yes.
and Sloan.
Sloan, yes.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Again, I appreciate your understanding about our scheduling jam up. And we will bring you any proposed comments and all the information you'll need at the spring meeting. We can get that added to your rules. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Erin. I guess we move on to any other board business. Members of the board.
Yes. I would like to make sure that we address what we had left on the table last board meeting regarding the CNS exam and the CDR exams.
Have that.
Is that okay if I
We will vote.
Yeah, I've listed, Dr. Queen, this is Anne.
Yeah,
I've
Anne.
listed under other board business, the CNS exam and the CDR, and that you brought that up. So that's listed as other board business. That would be, and you're aiming that for the next agenda.
No, that was supposed to be on this agenda.
Well, we're talking about other board business, so we were talking about things to be on the next one. So.
Oh, I see. Thank you for that clarification. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Oh, it's okay. We talk very fast. We do this all the time and we need to be reminded to slow down. So that would be listed for the spring agenda. Is there other things, Dr. Queen, or other members of the board that you would like?
What will be listed for the next agenda? Thank you.
I wrote down that you were interested in the CNS exam and the CDR exam.
No, that was supposed to be for this one, based on the transcripts of the recording of our last meeting. That was supposed to be added to this meeting for discussion.
Right. Let me hand this over to Director Bothwell, please.
Okay.
Chair, members of the board, Dr. Queen. So we're aware of what the request was, Dr. Queen, and because of all the legislation that HLO got handed, we're a very small office, and with all the legislation, we weren't able to accomplish what the request was. We're unable to guarantee anything for any board meeting until we're there, until we get to doing the agenda and putting things on the agenda for the board meeting. So we can attempt to get this for the next board meeting for the board to consider.
I have to respectfully say, sir, that really undermines this board's ability to make transparent decisions, and that I believe that the Oregon Health Authority and the Health Licensing Office made a unilateral decision to vacate the licenses of several of the certified nutrition specialists without input from the board, when we were supposed to talk about it this time, that these licenses were granted through reciprocity 2 or 3 years ago. And respectfully, I believe the health licensing officer has overstepped its authority and undermined the board's ability to properly represent us providers.
Chair, members of the board, this is Bob. Dr. Queen, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But I need to make another reminder that the board and its members individually do not comment or engage on discussions about contested case matters.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the board's, what they were supposed to do this meeting.
We were unable to accomplish that. We not guarantee, like I said, we're a very small office, 20 programs, and we were heavy with legislation this year, and we were unable to get what you're requesting down. And I'm just going to say that your comment is noted, and if we can move on, if you have any additional other board business. Or any
I
other.
feel like I'm being stifled.
Your comments have been recorded, and let's move on to, do you have another board business you'd like to bring up for the next meeting, or one of the next meetings, potentially, depending on what look?
Or any of the other board members?
Yes, or any other board members have something they want to put on for other board business? Hearing none, that will conclude our business for today. Do we need an official motion? I forgot to ask you. I can just, the Board of Licensed Dietitian meeting is adjourned at 10:15 a.m. See you all in October, in April. April, it's now October. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.